Today we will talk about the research questions and research objectives which play important role in any kind of research, be it term paper, dissertation or PhD thesis. And many students face difficulty in framing these objectives and questions. Firstly, we should be very clear about the framing research objective and research question, because these needs to be clear, precise and to the point. From these objectives and questions, we want to read the mind of the researcher. But the question arises how to frame these research questions and research objectives. The first thing which we need to know before framing these questions and objective is the research plan. Research plan is the one where when we divide the research into different chapters, that is called research plan. Now each chapter covers a certain aspect of the research. And if we talk about PhD thesis or dissertation, generally the research plan is divided into 6 to 7 chapters depending upon the topic. Firstly, it talks about introduction, which talks about the subject matter. Second is international perspective, which focuses on international instrument as well as foreign law. Third chapter generally talks about the constitutional and legislative perspective of the problem in India. Fourth chapter focuses on the judicial contribution related to the subject matter in India. Fifth chapter talks either about the issues and challenges related to the problem, or if there is no issues and challenges, then the comparative analysis of the law of different countries. Sixth chapter focuses on the empirical research, if it is an empirical or non-doctrinal research. In that case, sixth chapter focuses on that research data and the conclusion we get from the study. Seventh chapter talks about conclusion and suggestion. Now, in this order only, the research objective or research question should appear. From each chapter, there is generally one or two objectives we get. In research objective, we put our aim or objective or the concept in a statement form, whereas in research question, the same thing is put in a question form. That is the only difference between research objective and research questions. The rest remains the same. See, if we take the problem of geographical indication in the era of digitalization, this is our topic, then how we will frame the research objective. The first objective would be to introduce the concept of geographical indication and digitalization. Second would be to evaluate the historical development of the topic of geographical indication and digitalization. The third will be to examine the law with regard to geographical indication and digitalization in international arena. Fourth will be to find out the law with regard to geographical indication and digitalization in other countries. If you are talking about certain specific countries, then mention the name of those countries. Next objective would be to examine and learn the constitutional and legislative perspective of geographical indication in India. Next would be to analyze the judicial contribution in the development of the concept of geographical indication and tackle the problem of digitalization. The next objective would be to evaluate the issues and challenges posed by digitalization to the concept of geographical indication. If we are conducting empirical research, then the other objective would be to find out the issue of digitalization in the era of geographical indication in the area of, if you are talking about a certain area, then mention that area. Now, as I said earlier, we do not make any objective or question on last chapter, that is conclusion and suggestion. So these are the objective which we frame, and if we put these question statements in a question form, then those will become research questions. Let's understand how to frame research question with an example. To first objective is to examine the concept of geographical indication and digitalization. So if we put it in a research question, we will say what is the concept of geographical indication and digitalization. How the concept of second is how the concept of geographical indication has evolved over a period of time. Third can be what is the historical origin of the concept of digitalization. Now the same thing is put in a question form, then that will become research question. The research objective and research questions are easy to frame. The only thing we need to know is our research plan. Second thing, that while framing research objective, we should try to use different terms: comprehend, evaluate, focus, examine, analysis, and others, so that the objective does not look monotonous. If we use same thing, then it will look monotonous, and it feels that the researcher does not have great knowledge over his or her subject. So these are the things which we need to keep in mind while framing research objective and research questions. I hope the concept is clear, and in case of any doubt, please come.